Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk about all major movie and television news, breakdowns, reviews, and more. Today, we're going to have a little bit of a special video as WandaVision has come to its completion, and I want to share with you guys my thoughts and feelings on how the series went overall. So, naturally, there will be some spoilers for all of WandaVision in this video, and if that's not something you want to hear, go ahead and click away and come back after you've seen WandaVision. Also, I want to thank everybody who was involved in the watch parties, and for people who've been watching and commenting on videos throughout the release of WandaVision. We have a lot more exciting stuff coming to us in this month, including Godzilla vs. Kong, the Snyder Cut of the Justice League, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our watch parties, breakdown videos, and much, much more. So, for starters, I just want to say I really enjoyed WandaVision. I don't really have any issues with the way that they came about this series. I don't have a problem with them doing the whole sitcom thing, jumping through different decades. I enjoyed all of that. I found all of that to be very cool, very interesting, and very different. Overall, I think WandaVision was an interesting choice for starting off Phase 4. But that being said, it also wasn't the initial plan. They were planning on using Black Widow and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier to continue on after Avengers Endgame. Ending Phase 3 was the Spider-Man Far From Home, and they started talking a little bit about the blip in that. But since that jump, that breakaway, the San Diego Comic-Con where they started talking about Phase 4 moving forward, that was the initial order, was Black Widow, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then we would finally start getting WandaVision, the Loki series. Both of these going to be a little bit different from what we're already comfortable with in the MCU. Also, on that note, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming out, we will be getting that more classic Marvel movie feel with the action-packed explosions and the really cool reveals and Easter eggs throughout, like we are used to when that comes out just a couple weeks from now. So don't be too worried that the MCU's changed forever just because WandaVision was so different. Now here's why I liked that they went with something different. After the first 10 years of Marvel, where they started with Iron Man and they got all the way to Avengers Endgame, the MCU has changed cinema. They really have. I mean, this was a once-in-a-lifetime event to see Infinity War and Endgame pay out after all of those years of watching these characters, connecting their films, connecting the dots, and having this play in a way that it really is satisfying for the viewer and for us as fans to have all culminate into one cinematic experience. But Marvel is not a small company that is going away after Endgame is completed. No. They're going to go and break the limits again, moving forward with this next saga. Now, Phase 4 is going to be the beginning of that saga, and where that saga is heading, we still don't even know. Obviously, we have some hopes for Battleworld, Secret Invasion, and a lot of other different big, huge experiments that the MCU can do, but we don't really know where Kevin Feige and the group are headed with the future of the MCU. But it's going to be big, it's going to be bold, and it's going to be exciting. And that was demonstrated through WandaVision. They did a lot of new things, different ideas, and it was a completely different take on what an MCU project can look like. That being coupled with the fact that it was a Disney Plus television show and not a movie shows all of the different directions that Marvel can, will, and have to go in order to remain the crazy cinematic monsters that they are right now. With that being said, let's talk more specifically about WandaVision, and I want to congratulate the cast all the way across the board. Namely, Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, and Elizabeth Shepard, who were fantastic. All of them, all the way around. I mean, their face acting, their actual acting, their dimensional acting, where they took on different characters in different decades, often in the same episode. It was all so well done and believable, and a huge round of applause for them. Paul Bettany, I have a huge appreciation for the way he played this character who didn't know what was going on, both emotionally because he's an android and actually going on with the world because Wanda was hexing everything. And he just played this character who, although didn't know what was going on, was constantly striving to make Wanda feel loved and appreciated. And it was so cool to see that on screen and to really see that companionship role played out so beautifully. So well done, guys, and that's really cool to see. But now we're talking about the screenwriting and the play out and what everything was happening. It was very frustrating at first. Watching the first episodes, realizing we don't have a clue what's actually going on, what direction we're headed in, and then again, all of the fan theories thrown on top of that, wondering where these pieces plug in, these Easter eggs, oh look at the Grim Reaper's helmet hidden in the wall, and this milk means something. It's very difficult as a fan base because that is what makes the MCU so great, in my opinion. is the fan base. It's you guys. It's being able to leave these shows, these movies, and talk about all the different Easter eggs that Marvel does hide in their shows and in their movies and connect those dots. Because from Iron Man, they have been doing that. And that's demonstrated by Jimmy Woo when he does the card trick to introduce himself to Monica. So there are little payouts all the way across the MCU, so as fans, that gets very exciting. And it's definitely something worth realizing and noting as we come up to the finale of WandaVision is we were all over the place. The big bad's going to show up, Doctor Strange is going to show up, heck, Spider-Man might even show up, and when that didn't happen, we were very disappointed and we let ourselves down. Now, I personally really like and appreciate the fact that Marvel decided to stay with the Scarlet Witch story throughout the ending of this series. And that's what this was. It was an origin story for the Scarlet Witch, how she began to realize her powers, accept her powers, and move forward. We got to see a lot of backstory of Wanda as a child, of Wanda's fears and what makes her tick and be who she is. And since I don't think it's arguable that she is the most powerful in the MCU, that's important to know, to get those backstories and have Agatha come and realize for us everything that's going on with Wanda during this time period. And I'm glad that they didn't leave that in the final episode and throw something else in there like Mephisto, like Nightmare, like Doctor Strange, and turn it on about that future, which we are going to get to, right? There's no worry that eventually we will know what the future plans of the MCU is, and we'll see all of that. So it was cool to see them take their time and share with us the Scarlet Witch experience. Going into the last episode, I was actually worried that we were going to be left with a lot of unanswered questions, which, to be fair, we were. There are a lot of small details that we don't have the connecting dots to just yet, but overall, as a series, it wrapped up very nicely. We know what happened to Agatha. We know what her motivation was. We know who she was. We know what happened to Vision. We know what happened to the boys. We know what happened to Wanda. We have all of these answers that easily we could have not gotten. And had Marvel gone off on a tangent and talked about all of this big bad and this, we wouldn't have had time to have all that wrapped up. So I am actually, as a viewer, super grateful to have all those answers and to have had all that wrapped up really clean and nicely in one beautiful bow, where we see Wanda lost her husband, lost her kids, and has the Darkhold and is studying and is probably going to use some of her chaos magic and some multiverse manipulation to go and find her children and have her family once again. That's good enough for me to know, well, we know she's in Doctor Strange the Multiverse of Madness, which is called the Multiverse of Madness, so obviously there's going to be some of that going on. Doctor Strange is going to be involved. He was even name-dropped, his title was name-dropped in the finale by Agatha Harkness, so there are a lot of connecting factors there. Now, there are some questions that I have that weren't answered, but I'll say my biggest question is, what happened to White Vision? He left real quick once him and Vision had that conversation where they kind of broke each other's mind, realizing they were both Vision and neither of them were Vision, and he dipped, which is completely fine because that means we're going to probably see him later on in the future. I'm just curious to see how that's going to play out, where it's going to get involved. Is he going to be in Doctor Strange? Is he not going to show up again for the next 3 phases and then all of a sudden he's going to show up as Ultron? It's going to be very interesting to see how they choose to include White Vision in the future, but he's very clearly not dead, and Vision very clearly is surviving with his own consciousness that he got from Vision, that Vision got from Wanda. So that was all passed around, and Vision was able to actually come back to life. So that's really fun, and I'm excited to see how that plays out. So, on the note of fan theories, talking about these movies, piecing them apart, looking at leaked photos and theories and breaking everything down, there is one word of caution I want to play. While we were having the watch party across several different accounts, including Soups, The Cosmic Wonder, and myself, we were having a lot of fans in the live party talking about how much they were disappointed about the way it ended, how we didn't get a secret cameo, how there was no huge connecting piece and factor, and how huge of a disappointment it was that nothing that we thought was going to happen ended up happening. Because I think in reality the ending was very good. And it was ruined by us because we had these expectations that we gave ourselves for this big huge event that never actually happened. It was the Scarlet Witch story, and it remained the Scarlet Witch story, which, as I mentioned earlier, I'm happy about. But moving forward, Spider-Man's around the corner, and it's possible we're getting a multiverse film with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, but there's no definite proof of this at this point. So it's possible that we're not. So if we go to sit in the theaters, hopefully we'll be sitting in the theaters come Christmas time, and we don't see Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, we're going to hate the next Spider-Man film. And that's going to be because we built up this idea of the Spider-Verse in our heads, when Sony and Disney haven't even given us that idea just yet officially. Now there are ideas and hopes and thoughts, and obviously it's a lot of fun to piece all that together, but don't let that ruin the experience of these really cool movies and shows that will be playing out for us. So let me know what you guys thought of WandaVision as a series and as a finale and as a connecting piece to the future of the MCU in the comments section down below. Love to hear what you guys have to say, and your input is always one of my favorite parts of doing these videos. Also, thank you to everybody who watched to the very end of the video. If you found it helpful, useful, or entertaining, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of our breakdowns, theories, ending explained, and so much more happening right here daily on Cosmic Culture.